Well, the NFL possibly just had its most one-sided wildcard weekend in history. 5 of the 6 games were won by more than one possession. Pretty absurd. Steelers versus Bills was somehow the second most competitive game of the week. First game of the weekend was Texans versus Browns. Cleveland kept it close in the first half, but Houston blew the game wide open with 2 pick sixes from Joe Flacco in the third. It basically stopped being a game after this, ending with a final score of 45-14. CJ Stroud looks so awesome and is proving to be an elite quarterback. Houston might have a lot to look forward to. Then Kansas City and Miami played in the fourth coldest game in NFL history. Chiefs played smart and protected the ball, mostly relying on their defense for much of the game, whom held the Fins to only a touchdown and point after. This wasn't much of a shock. Miami hasn't really showed up in big moments this season when healthy. So taking on a Super Bowl caliber defense with an injured team under these weather conditions was far too much for them to handle. Well, maybe the Packers versus Cowboys game will be more competitive. No. Dallas was down 27-0 before scoring a touchdown to take it into halftime 27-7. Them boys then kicked a field goal early in the third to make it a 17-point game, but Green Bay didn't let up, scoring a touchdown to make it 34-10. Dallas scored another touchdown late in the third quarter. They were going to go for two, but got a penalty, so they settled for the extra point, which they missed. The Packers then scored back-to-back touchdowns to make it 48-16, and it was more than over at this point. Green Bay rested their starters for basically the entirety of the fourth, and Dallas scored 2 garbage-time touchdowns and converted 2 2-point conversions to bring the final score to 48-32. This is the most points Dallas has ever allowed in a postseason game and possibly their ugliest playoff loss ever. Jordan Love played incredible this game. The Packers made history, becoming the first 7 seed in history to win a postseason game. But finally, Sunday night, we get a game that actually feels like a playoff game. Lions versus Rams. Detroit hadn't hosted a playoff game in 30 years. They hadn't won a playoff game in 32 years. The man they traded, Matthew Stafford, was returning to Motor City. Jared Goff was being cheered and embraced by the city of Detroit. This game was being hyped up by Eminem. It would have been so heartbreaking for the Lions and their fan base if they had not only lost yet another postseason game, but if they had lost to the guy that never won for them in this environment. And they almost did. You could feel the energy and the emotion in this game. The crowd easily felt the most alive of any this weekend. The Lions didn't make a lot of mistakes. Their rushing defense stayed insane. Their red zone defense really showed up big time. Jared Goff looked like he was comfortable for the first half of this game, marching Detroit downfield with relative ease in the first quarter. Montgomery and Gibbs both got a rushing touchdown respectively, and the Lions D held the Rams to only a field goal, making it 14-3 going into the second quarter. Stafford and Goff exchanged passing touchdowns to start, then Stafford threw another to make it 21-17 Lions at half. The rest of the game was a kick fest. Rams receive at half, punt it away. Lions kick a field goal to go up 7. Rams kick a field goal in the following drive to cut it to 4. Force another punt from Detroit with just over 7 minutes left. The Lions pin the Rams deep inside their own 10. LA gets just past midfield. On fourth down, Sean McVay decides to punt the ball and give it back to Detroit with 4:07 left. The Rams only have one timeout, so the Lions pick up a few first downs to seal the game for a final score of 24-23 and Detroit's first playoff win in over 30 years. First Detroit Lions playoff win I have gotten to witness in my life. It was pretty incredible to see. Bills versus Steelers was maybe closer than I expected, but essentially still the game I prepared myself for. The Bills got up to a 21-0 lead that included a 52-yard rushing touchdown from Josh Allen before Pittsburgh cut it to 21-7 before halftime. Each team only scored a field goal in the third quarter. The Steelers answered first in the fourth to make it a one-possession game. Josh Allen then threw a touchdown to Khalil Shakir for the final score of the game. Very impressive that Shakir managed to keep from going down. But Buffalo's offense is going to have to get over some of their struggles and stay in a better rhythm if they want to beat Kansas City next week. I think they are fully capable of doing it. I think it's a game Josh Allen needs to win. We'll see if he does or not. Eagles versus Bucks. Yeah, this looked ugly for the Eagles. Their defense couldn't tackle whatsoever. Their offense could not handle the Buccaneers' pressure. If Tampa Bay's receivers could have held on to the ball more often, this game could have been a lot worse. Baker may not have the cleanest games, but the man has proven he can win. Philly's play calling became way too predictable for teams at the back half of the season, and they couldn't adjust over the course of 7 games. The Bucs even stopped the brotherly shove this game when Philly tried tush pushing their way to 2. It's been a sad couple of months for the city of brotherly love. But this was a sad wildcard round for several teams. 5 franchises that ended their season with a pretty bad whimper after making it all this way. It's absurd that Detroit is hosting their second playoff game for the second week straight. Green Bay and Houston have 2 young QBs that are showing great promise. Baltimore and San Francisco have probably the best coaching schemes in all of football. Josh Allen has Patrick Mahomes coming into him opposed to going into Arrowhead. Hopefully the divisional round is much better, more competitive, and more fun than Super Wildcard Weekend was. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments below what are your predictions for the divisional round. I'll have mine later this week, and until then, I'll see you guys next time.